Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the Week Ahead report. It's currently the 29th of October, it's obviously Saturday, and welcome to the Week Ahead report. This is a report where we talk about the week, the up-and-coming events, current issues, and also the economic calendar, looking for themes and trends that we can try and take some opportunity of over the week. Anyway, let's get a wrap of what occurred last night first, and that'll set the scene for how we see next week, obviously. The Dow closed up 0.18%, pretty quiet actually. S&P was up 0.5%, Nasdaq was down 1.48 points, so pretty muted in terms of its trading. Just you can see here, when you look at the hourly chart for the Dow, and we'll just grab that for you, you can start to see that there was a little bit of volatility in the way the market behaved, but at the end of the day, I think the market's just getting used to what's certainly happening in Europe. But let's get back to the markets. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. Okay, of the news, magnitude 6.9 earthquake in Peru. Man Financial bonds dive as broker is cut to junk. Still very major concerns there. On the other bits of news, we saw some good data in some confidence. Which is US consumer confidence rises, which is not too bad, so quite comfortable about that. Consumer spending increased 0.6% as well, so pretty happy there. Also, we're hearing news that the IMF and China will be involved in the bailout, and as a result of that, I think that should provide us with a certain level of comfort. As I said in several meetings before, it's all about the length of time that it'll take and the catch-up that the commodities and the markets will make as a result of the packages. This thing won't happen overnight, but the optimism is certainly there, and I think at the moment people are purely trading off optimism. Okay, let's look at that. So let's have a look around the world at some of the other markets. And I think top 50 was down 0.5%, FTSE was down 0.2%, CAC was down 0.59%, the DAX was down up 0.13%. Closer to home, on the futures side of the market, we basically behaved nicely, just up just a fraction, nothing too aggressive, and we closed, there we are, you can see it there, up 13 points at 4,362. Okay, now looking at some of the commodities, and it's going very jumpy here on the Bloomberg. There we go. On the commodities front, you can see energy sector was Brent crude was down 1.77%. West Texas was only down 0.68%. And once again, if we look at the spread between the two, it is interesting to know that's now at 16.7. So that continues to come in, and as we mentioned, that's something we've been looking at for some time. Okay, other than that, pretty muted night. Soybeans under pressure, 12.26. Cotton still looking good at 104.37. As we mentioned there, always sub 100, always a good opportunity to get involved there. Corn up just only 3.5 cents at 6.55, so pretty quiet. Copper still had a reasonable night, up 0.38%. I'm still a bit nervous about copper at these levels, but I actually feel that it shouldn't really be at these levels. But anyway, be guided by that 360. That to me is the key. Gold steady, 17.47. And silver there, strong night, up 17 cents at 35.28. Let's have a look at a few of the markets. We just talked a little bit about the Dow there. This sort of formation does look quite positive. You really want to see it sort of break through it. Just be cautious on a break through 12,100. A break of that area sees it back to this area here, down to that 1170. So just keep a good eye on that. Let's have a look at the dollar index. Dollar index at 75.21, just flatlining at the moment. Will be quite interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, the market wants to sell it, but as we suggested last night, things were relatively quiet. The Aussie battle is there at 106.97. Once again, reflecting what the dollar index is doing, just marking time moving sideways, and you can see exactly the same there when you look at the euro, although the euro seems to be coming back. This optimism is there, and once again, we've got to really see whether or not it's justified for these markets to be where they are. And here you can see, just look at crude 93.47, very volatile, but this sort of formation does actually look quite positive. So 95 is the next break there, which you can add if you need to. So that's crude. I just want to have a quick look at copper as well before we jump into the numbers. Copper's the 371.75, and that has bounced up on the back of some China issues. China sort of suggesting that they'll loosen monetary policy, and as a result of that, they're number one consumer. As I said, I think it's a little bit more sinister as to what's happening there. And I think it's designed to get prices and those RMB copper loans to be a little bit better. But that's all I've got from that side on copper. Let's have a look at the economic calendar now. Have a look at the economic calendar. Okay. As we go into Monday, the 31st of October, last day of the trading month, we've got a little bit of data in Eurozone, CPI estimates, GDP in Canada. I've got Purchasers Managers Index, sorry, the Chicago Purchasers Managers Index in the US. The numbers we're seeing out of the States appear to be pretty good. Okay, there's no doubt about it. They actually feel a little bit more positive. So I think a lot of the data will reflect that, and we should get some support from the markets. We understand it ebbs and flows, but even with that ebb and flow, the data, the underlying course so far, I think is relatively positive. Okay, Tuesday's important for Australia. The RBA cash target comes out, or the change, or the anticipated change in interest rates, expecting a 0.25% drop at 450. We've also got the RBA commodity index comes out, and around the world, GDP and PMI in the UK, and ISM manufacturing, construction spending, and vehicle sales in the US. Pretty good, important data there, probably tier 2 at the moment. Leading into Wednesday, Australia, we've got building approvals, MBA mortgage applications in the States, and Germany unemployment, which I think will be quite important, but it's meant to be steady. And I think that's really the most important data there. Looking at Thursday, I get retail sales in Australia, very important there. Also that retail sales ex-inflation, we really want to see what's actually occurring in that. Inflation to me, as you know, is a little bit of a concern. Non-farm productivity in the States, initial jobless claims and Bloomberg Consumer Comfort Index are due out on Thursday. And as we head into Friday, we've got the important non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, etc. So the Tier 1 data for the week will in fact be the employment data out of the States. So let's see how that unfolds. Now the interesting thing about that will be if it's better, does that constitute an inflationary issue? If they're steady, what happens? And obviously how will that affect the markets? Okay, now that's all I've really got for this morning. I guess that's the week ahead report. What themes are we really looking at the moment? And I think the most important thing is obviously euro. We need to see more optimism coming. We need to be fed with more news. So we can't just stop here. So I think it's important for sustained value in the market to continue, that in fact that optimism stays with us. So let's see how that unfolds. Rightio, well that's it from me. I hope everyone has a good weekend and a good week ahead. Happy trading. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.